Hello, everyone. I want to put my 2 cents in regard to new stuff coming out in the Bryan Kohberger case. First, let me say that I am so happy to see so many channels um, really looking at all possibilities now more. Because when all of this stuff came out, um, so many people were just instantly ready to lynch Bryan Kohberger. And I mean, it's understandable. We get emotional about cases, especially something so heinous when it comes to young people. And we want to find the perpetrator and we want them brought to justice. But our emotions cloud our judgment most of the time, and we don't look at all possibilities. And people are doing that a much better job at that now, so it's awesome. There are still a few big channels, well, more than a few big channels that I can't even listen to anymore, and they're still like staunchly saying it's definitely Bryan, it's only Bryan, and the two surviving people are super traumatized, and they're all victims in this and all that stupid crap. So I can't even listen to them anymore. You all know how I feel about the two surviving girls. I'm not even going to go into that. But anyway, there's some new stuff's coming out that just is adding even more possibilities. I don't investigate these cases. There's plenty of good channels out there that do. Look at them. I'm just heavily invested in this case, and I really listen to a lot of information. I listen to the credible people, the intelligent people that look at all possibilities and that really deep dive into this case. So I just want to give my opinion, especially since I had been in the psych field for many, many years. I look at all possibilities. I don't pass judgments. So I like to give my opinion. There's a new information about this girl. She's scummy and her boyfriend's scummy. Her name was Emma. They're drug dealers and they're in jail now because they sold some to someone that OD'd and died. They're possibly linked to a video that shows them at the house where the 4 victims passed away. And it's pretty substantial evidence that it is this girl that was there. Her and her boyfriend, like I said, are shady. So this adds some more possibilities. The boyfriend has a history of being very violent. And like doesn't think about it. He's just does things on the spur of the moment. So since this was a really, heinous crime, and we don't know who could have done it. They could be involved. I just heard from a very reputable person that deep dives into this that her boyfriend's brother had a white Hyundai Elantra. So, could Ryan have been there that night buying drugs from these people? Could the guy's brother with the Hyundai Elantra have been there with him and they committed the crime, but Bryan just knows them because he buys drugs from them? We couldn't see Bryan's face in the footage from the Hyundai Elantra, and there's tons of Elantras. It actually seems like there's tons of Elantras in this area because Kopaka had a silver one. So all these people that could possibly be connected to this case has freaking white or silver Elantras. That is just crazy. The thing about this, though, is listening to Bryan's, being pulled over and how he talks, how he conducts himself, and to from what people say, he seems like more of a conservative person. And these scummy people, Emma and her boyfriend, they seem like they're the party people type and just kind of low class, not on the same intellectual level. So I can't see Bryan hanging out with them like to party with. But if you're a drug user, you will go to scummy people to get your drugs. So I could see him buying his drugs from them. Maybe something happened because the girls were making comments about, did you tell this guy something that night? And we don't know what they meant by it, but it sounded something serious. So could have been about drugs, could have been about these people, Emma and her boyfriend. We don't know. We're just speculating. We have no clue. So could they know they were in trouble for something? Could this girl, Emma, her boyfriend, and the boyfriend's brother be the ones that were over there that night to, pay them back for something that went wrong or something that was said? Because like we know, the boyfriend already has a very violent past. He beat the crap out of a woman in the past and has attacked a guy and who knows else. But he's got a violent past. So could that be them? We've got to really speculate everything. Could Bryan have just been in the area to get some drugs from them and didn't know this was going down? Could the guy have grabbed Bryan's knife in a fit of rage, and Bryan's knife already had his DNA on it, and used it for the murders? Could he have asked Bryan for his knife? Oh, let me borrow this, brother, or whatever, knowing it would be something that wouldn't link him to the crime. You got to think about every possibility, because I really don't see him hanging out with these people on a friend level. But like I said, I can see him buying drugs from them. Was Bryan dating one of the two surviving roommates? We don't know that. Like I said, Bryan's not a bad-looking guy. And everybody knows, well, not everybody, because everybody doesn't have the same taste. Most people would say he's not a bad-looking guy if he wasn't connected to these murders. If you would have met him in school or whatever, you would have said he wasn't a bad-looking guy. So just because now he's accused of murder, everybody's saying a bunch of crap about him. But he could have easily been dating one of the two surviving roommates. He could have been there for that. We don't know if there were still other people in the house that night. If there were not other people, that would be a rarity, because they always had people over there on the weekends. So leave an open mind. More stuff is coming out. There's more players in the game now. It could be more people. And let's go back to the beginning where it said that suspect vehicle 1 and suspect vehicle 2. A lot of people blew that off as, oh, that's just their lingo. It could have just been one vehicle. But could it have been two vehicles? It could have been suspect vehicle 1 and suspect vehicle 2. Just as plain as it said in the paperwork. So we should revisit that as well. Don't just blow it off as just some lingo that was, misinterpreted by us lay people. It could have been two suspect vehicles, especially since there's 3 people that we know that could possibly be involved with each other now that have white or silver Hyundai Elantras. Excuse me. My allergies are kicking my butt. And we can't clearly see through that video, if it was white or silver, because depending on the lighting, a white or silver car can look alike. Depending on the quality of the video, depending on the lighting, we should know this as, intelligent people. So don't blow off and dismiss anything. Like I said, suspect vehicle 1 and suspect vehicle 2 now can really mean something in light of this new information that we got. And this is all speculation. This Emma girl and her thug boyfriend could have nothing to do with this. The brother of the thugs could have nothing to do with this. But there's a small circle of people there. She lives close by. And if they're all partiers, a lot of partiers flock together. Druggies, they flock together. Drinkers, they flock together. So she's in that age group too. So according to the videos that we've seen of her, could be a high probability that she could be involved in some way. Sleuthers already found out that she knew one of the people that was on the lease. It was a roommate that I think didn't ever move in or moved out before. I can't quite remember. Go to another channel to get that information. But she was connected. Emma was connected to one of the people that was on the lease. So we cannot rule out her, the boyfriend, and his brother being a part of this case. They are criminals. They are drug users. They are drinkers. They are drug dealers. And like I said, the boyfriend had an explosive, violent temper. Who knows what he was capable of? We don't know what the girls meant when they were talking about, did you tell this guy this? And they seemed a little bit upset about it. We don't know if something was said or done that angered this guy and he went off. We don't know. So we can't just say Bryan Kohberger's the killer. He could have just been with the people and didn't do anything. It's something about this case that just screams to me that it's just so much more involved. And I normally don't think so strongly like that, because normally I can be biased too. I try not to be, but normally, like said Lori Daybell case, we knew that they did that. And you're supposed to always say innocent until proven guilty, and always look at all other possibilities. But we knew that. So a case like that, you know they're guilty. With this case, we don't, because there are just too many possibilities. We haven't been presented with enough evidence to say for 100% that he did it. The DNA on the knife sheath looks like super damning evidence to most people, even though it could just be touch DNA. But people still said, that's it. He did it. And it looks bad, but we don't know the circumstances now, since so much more is coming out. Did he loan somebody the knife? Oh, let me borrow your knife. I got to cut the box open or something, let me borrow it for this, that, and the other. Or just took it from him. We don't know. Think about all possibilities. If you know you are going to kill somebody, are you going to try to use something that's going to connect you? If you have something that you see someone else has, that you can pin it on them. I'm just saying, don't be so quick to say that he is the only person involved. This timeline is insane. And you've got some so-called experts that have said some really ignorant stuff in regard to Bryan, that said, oh, yeah, you could do it this quick, and the experts have said just some stupid stuff that I'm surprised they're even experts. But I won't go down that again. But anyway, I just don't see him or whoever else did it doing it by themselves that quickly, unless they are a prolific serial killer. And I just don't see Bryan as being that. I might be proven wrong later, but I don't see it. There's just more to it. Like I said, we don't know who else was in the house. It could have been multiple people. You know, a stabbing is brutal, and you're going to be screaming bloody murder. So if he's up there killing 2 people, how are the other 2 victims not being awakened by this? You know, not trying to get out the house, not trying to grab something and attack him. It just doesn't make sense how the second 2 victims were not able to get out of the situation from the first 2 victims, because you know they had to hear them screaming bloody murder. It's a possibility it was a attack on all 4 of them at the same time, simultaneously. We don't know how many people are in the house. Some people could have been attacking the first people. Some people could have been attacking the second people, all at the same time. We don't know. You've got to think about all possibilities. We know it was a party house. We know people were drinking out of their mind. We saw body cam footage of people talking, and they sounded like they were under the influence of narcotics. I won't name the names, but watch the videos and you'll know what I'm talking about. It's more than likely drugs were going in and out of there. So, I mean, don't just try to baby the people and say it's not a possibility. So, anything is possible. It could have been any drug dealers involved. They didn't pay up the money. They said something that they weren't supposed to say. Whatever. Anyone could have been involved in this case. Bryan could have just been there, wrong place, wrong time. Bryan could have been dating one of the 2 survivors. He could have just been buying some drugs off of these scummy people. Look at all the possibilities. We're getting more and more information, and now it's really stirring up the pot of possibilities. This Emma girl and her boyfriend and the boyfriend's brother now just brings even more possibilities into the picture. So when you're looking at this case, use an open mind, use your common sense. It's not cut and dry. We only have a very little bit of the information, and we don't even know how true the little bit of the information that we do have is, because I really don't think the 2 surviving victims told police the truth or told them everything, because it looks like they're trying to save their butts. I'm just speculating, because there's no excuse in the world that you could ever tell me, ever, that would explain why they waited almost 9 hours to call the police. She wasn't traumatized, frozen in fear, because if she was, she would have screamed bloody murder. She would have contacted the police any way she could. If she had that much fear, your flight and fight survival kicks in when you're under that much fear, and you're going to do anything to survive. So you're going to call the police. You're going to scream bloody murder. You're going to run out the house. You're going to try to run to a neighbor's house. You're going to grab weapons. You're going to do whatever you can to survive. And if she just went to sleep after hearing all that crap, then real piece of shit. But I don't think that's the case. There's no way those 2 surviving roommates didn't hear all of that violence going on. They can lie and all they want to and say they didn't. Well, Dylan said she heard stuff. These stupid, ignorant ass investigators that said, oh, they probably confused it for party noises, need to never do an investigation again. If screaming, moaning, body thuds, and fighting sounds like partying to you, then you are a real fucking idiot. And so many so-called experienced investigators made that stupid ass comment that, oh, they mistaken it for party noise. You would have to be less than a fool with no brain cells to mistake that for party noise. So let's get that straight off the bat. That's why these investigators that have been going on these YouTube channels just piss me off, and I don't even give them credibility now. That's just like the dumbest ass thing to say ever. That is not the case. They did not mistake murder for party noise. So, like I said, we'll probably never know the complete truth. If Bryan's guilty, he's never going to admit it. And if these other people involved, they're not going to tell the truth. People think just because you're under oath with the threat of perjury and jail time that you're going to tell the truth. If you believe that, you're less than a fool. People lie under oath every fucking day. Look at our stupid ass Trump. Lied his ass off all the time. People don't give a shit about oath. Let's be real. I mean, there are some decent people that care. You know, they will tell the truth under oath. A lot of people don't give a shit, because how are you going to prove that they're lying? You know? So don't get that oath stuff twisted. That means nothing to people. It's just a formality in the proceedings. People don't give a shit about an oath. But anyway, this has been longer than I had planned. I'm just saying, we've got even more stuff now to, you know, think about possibilities even stronger now, because if this stuff is true and this Emma girl and her boyfriend are connected, which they seem to know these people and have been in that house, we've got even more possibilities now. And like I said, you know, I don't know Bryan whatsoever, you know, but looking at his interviews and everything and hearing what people said about him, he seems to be a more conservative person. And like I said, I don't think he would be partying with this Emma and her boyfriend. And they don't seem like the type that would be partying with him. But if he was still taking drugs, he could possibly know them from buying drugs from them. He could have, just like I said, been at the wrong place at the wrong time and just got all caught up in this. He could have been a part of it and not have been the actual killer. He could have been the getaway driver. It's just too many possibilities right now, and especially since more information is coming out, to say for 100% certainty that Bryan Kohberger is the killer or is the only killer. So please, when looking at this case, especially you bigger YouTube channels, use your brain, use your intelligence, and stop saying for 100% certainty that he did this and he's the only one that did this, because you're doing a disservice to people that watch your channels. Because let's be 100% honest, there's a lot of ignorant people out here. They will watch your channel and think that what you're saying is just the God honest truth. There's just too many ignorant people out here. Look at all the ignorant Trumpers. Just believe anything that fucking idiot said. So people are gullible and stupid. So be careful what you're putting out on your channel. Anyway, that's it, guys. Please hit that like button and that subscribe button. You know, if you're a person that's eagerly triggered, then my channel is not for you, because I look at every possibility. I speak with honesty. I don't mince my words. I look at everything intelligently, and some people just can't handle that. But anyway, thank you, guys. Check out my other videos, and I hope you have a wonderful day or evening wherever you are.